And right now we're going to go to the Sports on Tap hotline where we have head coach of the Brunswick Blue Devils, Mark Pinzone, joining us. And, Coach, thanks for joining us tonight.
Through the phone here and run around like crazy, boy. I wish I could have came in, but I'm just running around and kind of burning the candle at both ends.
No, well, we appreciate you taking time. We know you're really busy, and so far you guys are 4-3 on the season. And talk a little bit about head coach at Brunswick in your first season so far.
It's been fantastic. You know, when you come into any program, you know, there's always the struggles and the challenges, and I've really enjoyed it. Again, the story's kind of old now, Rob. I mean, coming back to Brunswick, myself and the staff, and we feel at home, and just blessed to be back. You know, we've gone through a few rough patches. Obviously, the couple of weeks where we had trouble with Menor and Solon, but you know, our kids have really, really responded well to not only me as the head coach, but our coaching staff, and what we're trying to put forth, both specifically day to day and week to week, but also overall as a program.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Jeffy. Thanks for joining us. Hey, just wanted to get to your thoughts. I know after this game, this victory over Elyria, you know, you said there was a really big victory for your team as you were talking to the Gazette. You know, coming off a couple weeks ago, a pretty bad loss against Menor, and then playing real tough against Solon last week. You know, just talk about how your team has really answered the call and not quitting and really playing tough for you.
Well, one of the things that I do, and I don't know what other coaches do, you know, that your guess is as good as mine, but I try to be very transparent with our kids. I don't hold a lot of secrets. You know, I try to be very frank with them and treat them as much like men and adults as I possibly can, while not forgetting that they're also still kids. And you know, I told them, I said, you know, I've been doing this a long time. Our staff's been doing this a long time. And when any team gets to a third week where 21 days has gone by with losses, you know what I mean, and you get that third loss, you know, that's a very, very difficult psychological thing, you know what I mean? And to be able to come back after 3 losses in a row and really, you know, have not only a successful week and a game after that, but it really breaks people down a little bit. So I told the guys that, you know, this game is a crucial game to our season, to our team, to our program, and really to the psychological well-being of what we've been spending so many days and months on. They did. I told them they need to answer the call. I'm putting pressure on you. This is going to happen, and we need to go make it happen, and they did. So I'm very proud of them.
Coach, this is Sean Duffy talking to you here. And one question that I have is, you know, looking forward, you got a pretty good test this week against a really good Euclid team, very athletic, and able to kind of really stretch the field. What's one of the things you guys are going to try and focus on as far as an overall game plan to try and slow down the Euclid team?
Yeah, well, you kind of answered it. You know, we got to catch them first. You know what I mean? They're really fast. They're not just fast; they're really fast. And so now they are dinged up a little bit. And you know, like any team, you're getting into the week 6, 7, 8. You know, in that range, you're going to probably see that. So they've got a couple of bumps and bruises, and we're coming off a couple of bumps and bruises. I feel like compared to last week going into Elyria, we're actually slightly healthier. We should get, you know, one of our linemen back. Tommy Call should be available. One of our other linemen that played kind of gimpy is feeling better. One of our skilled guys who played sick with the flu, who actually, you know, got sick on the sideline slightly and still played through it and got hydrated and fluids, and he's now, you know, better and at the tail end of his sickness. So we should be slightly healthier this week, and you know, we've got some speed too. We're just going to have to play smart. We feel like we have a chance. And I've talked to the kids and said, okay, great. You know, they're a great team. They're a fast team. They're a well-coached team. They're a 6-1 team. You know what I mean? So they're good, you know. And so what we're going to have to do is do things right and be in the game, be competitive in the fourth quarter and have a chance to win the game. And I've talked to them about that. Now, you know, we did that, you know, in Solon we started to become more competitive in the second half. And obviously Menor, you know, there's no surprise there. We were not competitive. That was disappointing to me, disappointing to our staff, and equally as disappointing to our kids. and they know that we have to be competitive in order to have that opportunity to win. So if that happens, if we play right and we're competitive in that second half, in that fourth quarter, then we're in a position to have an opportunity to win against a very, very quick, very good, well-coached team like Euclid.
I couldn't agree more, Coach. And, looking at the Greater Cleveland Conference, how tough has it been in your first season to really go through the grind so far? I mean, the season's not over, but your first full season here as head coach. And, talk about the difference, in some of these teams. Mentor's obviously a really good team. Solon, every week it seems like you're going through the grind. You talked a little bit about how talented Euclid is, but every week you're going through the grind, and it seems like your players are up for the challenge, and your players so far this year have done pretty well. Talk a little bit about your players and also the schedule this season.
Well, the schedule part, you use that magic. That is the word, boy. I've heard that word 1,000 times. It's a grind. The grind is the magic. That's the magic buzzword. It's a grind. At Buckeye, when we were at Buckeye the past 4 years, yeah, the schedule had a little bit different feel and look to it, we'll say. Here these teams, they're great teams. They're big schools. They're great teams. They're well-coached teams with athletes and bodies in their school buildings like us. And so we expect to be that way too. What we've done is we've said, listen, we're a big school. We've got a lot of bodies in our hallway. We've got a big roster. We've got some big guys, some strong guys, and some fast guys, and some talented guys. And so we want to be in that position where people are looking at us saying, hey, we got to figure out how to beat Brunswick because they're good. They're getting better. And they're getting good. And that's just, goes back to trying to earn respect. And so to answer the second part of your question about talking about our players, that's what I'm probably most proud of is, these kids, and I'm not just talking about our senior class, these kids have unfortunately – not experienced a whole lot of winning in the recent past, and for a variety of reasons. But the idea is to learn how to win and to learn how to close games out and to learn to expect to win. And those are hard things to measure. And the way to do that is to keep doing what you said, which is to go and grind it out, to keep working and keep sticking together and keep grinding through day to day, week to week. And that's a difficult thing for kids to do. It's a difficult thing for coaches to get players to do. And I've really been fascinated and shocked and impressed by how committed our players are, how committed our coaching staff is, and how supportive the people in the community and in our school building are. And that's one of the main reasons why we're experiencing what I'll call some mild success. We've had some setbacks. It's not like it's been all bed of roses, but we absolutely have experienced some improvement, some success, and I think the kids are seeing that and learning to close out games to win games.
Talk a little bit about the leaders on your team. Whether it's offense or defense, it seems like every team needs some good leaders, whether, with the ups and downs. It seems like if you have those certain leaders, they really take a team and say, it's okay, we're going to get through this. Who are some of the leaders on this team that you've been impressed with so far this year?
Well, it always starts with your seniors and your captains. I firmly believe that. I think any coach will tell you the same. Our senior class is 33 guys, 32 guys, and they're working hard. So as a class, they're a good group of leaders. Our captains, we have 5 captains. One of them, Tommy Call, was down this week, and he's there every day pushing and working and trying to get better and helping our kids. And Steve Spickler is one of our toughest, strongest, linemen. He's been fantastic, and I have him in class every day, and he's been a great leader. And Caden Harder and Jake Vadini, who are fullback linebackers, they're at the heart and soul of what we do on our offense and defense because they play just about every snap. And then, of course, Cole Zamiska, who has been outstanding in terms of leadership. He's really, we've made it tough on him. He started out being our wide receiver and a backup quarterback and a punter. And unfortunately, Josh Stockwell, who was really, kind of coming into his own at the end of the summer and the beginning of the year, snapped his collarbone. And we had to make Cole come right over to quarterback again and really take on the brunt of everything. And he's done a great job, and he's gotten better every week. So he has been a great leader, not only verbally as a senior, but through his work on the field. And then, a couple of other guys that they may not be captains, but they certainly are showing their will to win. And one that obviously stands out for us is Ethan Flanagan, who, obviously touches the ball a lot. He's the name you see in the paper a lot. And I've really been, impressed with not only his good play, but his willingness to move around, because it's no secret. I mean, we've asked him to play receiver, running back, quarterback, defensive back, kick returner, even punt returner sometimes. I mean, he is really doing a lot for us. And we're hanging our hat on him. He's not a captain, but he sure acts like one. He carries himself like one. And I have him in class too. And I look forward to seeing him and those guys every day in school and on the field, because they're just quality young men.
Coach, real quick, following you on Twitter, kind of getting a feel of how the future is for the Brunswick program. Your JV and your freshman teams seem to be doing well. You're passing out a lot of congratulations to them on Twitter. So just talk about, the youngsters in the program and the future as you can see it, getting into your first year back at Brunswick.
Well, it's no secret, I'm a pretty positive person. My mantra for coaching any kids has always been to find ways to stay positive, to find creative, positive ways there's no sense in being, yelling and screaming and being negative and derogatory or sarcastic or any of those things. So no matter what's happening, pushing the kids, certainly telling them like it is. And, I'm not trying to feed them cups of sunshine, because they, a couple of weeks were, like I said, pretty rough back during that Menor Solon time. But, when we're accomplishing good things, you want to be positive, and I believe in that. And so you'll see some of those, I call them kumbaya tweets, and I tell the kids that. But it's also a good reminder that, I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to be positive as their leader, as a coach. And I expect them to stay positive. And, anybody can be positive in the good times. It's when you're getting your butt kicked and, you got some dinks and danks and you're injured. Can you keep your head up and, like you said, keep grinding? And so we look to do that. And, yeah, our younger groups have been doing better. Our JV group, admittedly, has struggled a little bit. They've lost some games. They had a nice win against Elyria. But, we put our JV kids in a tough spot, because we except for the summer where they get to run Brunswick's offense and defense, when you think about it, and a lot of schools do this, with JV, we ask them during the week to run that scout team for us. So essentially they're running the other team's offensive and defensive plays for our varsity. So they really don't get a lot of practice during the week running Brunswick's offense and defense. And then we tell them to run out there on Saturday morning and run Brunswick's offense and defense. I mean, so really the idiot's me, you know what I mean? So I'm not putting our JVs in the greatest of positions. So, we want to make sure that, that they're getting better. Our freshman team, I have to say, they've been fantastic. They're 6-1. They're a great group of kids. We're looking forward to having them next year. And with our improving JV, our returning juniors, and our freshmen, we feel good about next year. But I got to tell you, fellas, we're worried about these 3 weeks, specifically Euclid. We're worried about that in the off season.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking time tonight to come on our show. We wish you nothing but the best of luck the rest of the season. And like I said, we know you're busy, so anytime you have, we appreciate when you come on.
Well, thanks for having us, appreciate everything you do for the high school football, for Brunswick football, and for us. And don't eat too much ice cream over there, okay?
Hey, Coach, I'll see you on Thursday. We really appreciate you coming on. This is Ed.
Okay, Ed. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
No problem. Thanks, Coach.
Bye-bye.
That's head coach of the Brunswick Blue Devils, Mark Pinzone, joining us. They're 4-3 this year, and a lot of great stuff from Coach Pinzone. You always love talking to him. He breaks it down, tells you how it is, and has some fun with it. But he just loves high school football. He's been around it a long time, and coming over from Buckeye, I think it was a great thing for Brunswick football. And 4 wins this year is pretty impressive, and they hope to keep winning as the season goes along.
And they're in the conversation for playoffs.
That's right.
I mean,
there's still
a lot of teams are
they're
right
number
now.
10 right now.
A lot of teams are, but you know what I mean? That's where you want to be at this time of the year for any coach, especially, a coach with a young team like Brunswick. You want to be in the conversation. It may not lead to anything now, but it tends to plant those seeds going forward.
Yeah, we'll wait and see how the Brunswick Blue Devils do against the Euclid Panthers coming up. But right now we'll step away. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll give the recap for the Southwestern Conference. We also have the Suburban League, our game of the week, and we might have one more guest tonight. We will have a guest tonight on our show. All coming up. You'll have to wait to find out who it is. Coming up, we're Sports on Tap.